Hello, welcome to the Freak Show. Bumpy McSquigums here. I want to thank you all for joining me as I get to give you guys a sneak peek. That's right, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, brought to you by Obsidian Entertainment and Versus Evil. It releases for the PC on April 3rd, 2018, and for the consoles a little bit later on in the year. You know, Xbox One, PS4, and of course the Nintendo Switch. So I'm excited. What we're going to do today is we're going to hop in. We're going to kind of look over the different difficulty levels, difficulty modes, and different like play levels and modes and different things. Lots of modes and levels. Anyway, we're going to see how we're going to set up the game essentially, and then we're going to basically just take a look at the characters and like how to build your character, what choices there are for classes, and so on and so forth. You know, basic stuff at this point. But again, it's a sneak peek. It's actually hands-on the game a bit, and then maybe tomorrow or the next day I'll actually hop in. We'll do a little bit of gameplay. And I'll be kind of teasing you guys bit by bit here and there, this little poke and prod stuff. And yeah, and all the way up through to release. I just don't want to like oversaturate and play through like the full beta, whatever's available in this build, and then having to replay it type thing when the game actually fully releases. I want there to be some surprises and twists and turns and stuff. Anyway, that's enough of an intro. Let's hop in and get started. Alright, so for the different difficulty levels, we have Story Mode. Story difficulty is for players who are more interested in exploration and story development than challenges of combat. The game's combat mechanics are heavily biased in the player's favor to make battles extremely easy. Then we move on to Relax difficulty. It is for players who are new to the real-time with pause combat or find Classic a bit too tough. Classic difficulty is for people who want the standard combat challenges. This is how the game is essentially designed to be played. Then for people who are like, I'm a little bit better than that, they're going to go with the veteran status here, the veteran difficulty. It's for players who need a bit more enemies and more aggressive enemy tactics to feel challenged. And then finally, the insane people, as I like to call them, the people who are really, really good at the game or just really, really patient at losing and then figuring out the exact way they have to go through fights to win it. Yeah, those people. Anyway, probably really good players. The Path of the Damned. It throws the largest number of enemies against the player. It makes enemies more powerful. It utilizes the most devious AI tactics. This option cannot be changed in-game. It is only intended for players who want the most punishing encounters. So there you have it, ladies and gents. I'm not doing that because while I'm probably able to struggle through Veteran, I'm going to go with Classic. And then we have the Trial of Iron. It's essentially the Iron Man mode. Only one save file is kept. You have no additional saves. So if you screw up, that's it. Game over, man. Game over. You have to start all over again. And then Expert mode basically just lowers some of the tooltips and stuff. I'm hoping that going through this like early access stuff, we'll be able, you know, like just to put it in Expert mode and not have to have as many helper things. Though I'm not sure that's what I'm going to do. We'll see. We'll see. And then this is interesting. I'm not really sure what to think about this. Level scaling provides a consistent level of challenge to players when exploring Deadfire. While enabled, enemies within a scene will adjust their level up or down depending on the player's character's levels relative to the intended level for the scene. So this is an interesting way to keep it right balanced with you. So if you don't like to do a lot of grinding or extra exploring, it should lower it to your level. But if you like to go to all these various different places, but you find yourself a little too strong moving forward through the story, this will actually scale it upwards. And then you also have the option to scale upwards only. That way, it will never lower the difficulty to you. It'll always raise it to where you're at. So there's options there. I've never actually, me personally, I've never been a fan of level scaling in games anyway. If I go off and I spend the time grinding or exploring some little subsect thing, and I'm not following the main path of the story, I feel like I should be rewarded by being a bit stronger going forward. That's just me personally. Other people will love this option. I'm really happy to see it's there. It's really cool. And yeah, gives you a bit more replayability. Say you play through the whole game and you're like, oh, that was pretty easy. Then just go ahead and do the level scaling. I bet that's going to change everything. Anyway, again, I'm babbling, I'm rambling. Probably took a bit too long for that. But let's see what the game has to offer. And let's watch the opening sequence. Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. Something like that, right? You can get behind that. I believe... Oh, look, we're smoking a pipe. I believe we can, we're going to be doing character creation at this point. That's like my idea, my goal. That's the whole point of the episode, right? Okay, so we get to choose our sex, male and female. Looks like class selection, attributes, culture, weapon proficiency, customization, and done. A woman's role in Eora, sure. is largely dependent on where she is from. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and women can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions. Well, last I checked, I'm a man, so I'm going to go with a man as my character. Actually, is there anything different? The place of men in society varies from culture to culture. In all societies, there are exceptions, so it's pretty much the same. That's cool. Okay, we have the Awumawumawa guys. These guys. Yep. The big Navi-looking peeps. We got the dwarves, of course, the elves, the Godlike. I remember those. In fact, I think when I start up my Pillars of Eternity, the White March Let's Play, which should be coming relatively soon, and hopefully I can somehow breeze. I might do something special with that. We'll see, guys and gals. Anyway, I think I'm going to be playing as a Godlike. I'm not sure, though. We'll see. All right, we also have the human and the Orlan. The Orlan are, yeah, the little creepy, I don't know, like wood nymph elf demon people. Yeah, pretty much. Aren't these the exact same choices we had in number 1? Which is fine. They don't necessarily need to add more. I'm just curious. I think they're the same. All right, so we will real quickly read through all these things and see what their stats and everything else is, and then we'll move on. The mighty Aumaua, sure, are the largest of the Kith races and are commonly found in or near oceans. Though not truly aquatic, they have an affinity for water, and many of their civilizations, such as the Rautuai, are based on naval dominance. They are known for their unparalleled strength. +2 to strength. I will refamiliarize myself with a lot of these names come soon, I promise you. By virtue of land covered and number of colonies settled, dwarves are the most well-traveled race in the world. They are commonly found in the Deerwood and Valian republics and most any colonized land. Dwarves are known for their great strength and tenacity. +2 strength, +1 constitution. Not super dexterous, though. Which could be a problem if you needed a dexterous character. Anyway, be aware, guys and gals, this is like a very, very early on beta build of the game, so it's not indicative of the final released version. Some of the graphics and a lot of stuff could change by the end of it, so just be aware of that. Then we have the elves. They are the dominant race in Ir Glanfath, and the white that wends, and are extremely common in the Deerwood and Adir. Elves are known for their speed and intelligence, as well as a commonly isolationist nature. Dexterity and perception. The Godlike are the children of the Kith, civilized races, who have been blessed with physical aspects associated with the gods, though some do not consider it a blessing. These aspects may take many forms, and often come with mystical powers. Aberrant head shapes are typical, and godlike are unable to wear protective headgear, as it is near impossible to find anything that fits. That's kind of funny, and it's kind of sad too, but whatevs, it's okay. And their inability to reproduce. It fits. Because of their unusual nature and their inability to reproduce, godlike are often viewed with fear and wonder. Alright, and then we go down to the humans. The humans, commonly called folk, are the most common race in the Deerwood, the Adir Empire, Old Valia, and the Valian Republics. Though not as large as the towering Aumahawawas, humans are known for their strength and willpower, strength and resolve, and then we have the Orlan. Orlans are the smallest of the Kith races, though many cultures don't consider them to be civilized at all. I can see why. I can see it. Also notable for their large ears, two-toned skins, and hirsute bodies. I'm not sure what that means. Orlans are commonly found in Ir Glanfath, the... oh boy. Ixamiddle Plains. I'm sure that's completely wrong. I vaguely remember that being pronounced something completely different. Parts of the Deerwood. I'm sorry about that, folks. If there's any breaks in the video, I'm a bit stuffy today, so I might have to clear my throat, blow my nose, whatever the case is, just to keep going. So, I apologize. They are known for their mental intensity and sharp senses. Alright, they're a little bit weaker, but they're more perceptive, and they have some resolve. Alright, well, I don't know. Let's go with one of these little dudes. Why not? Alright, looks like we have a couple sub-races here. Oh, you are very blue. You are just relatively normal. Alright, this is a Hearth or a Hearth Orlan. Hearth, that's how I would say it. Hearth Orlans are found in many forested areas of the Eastern Reach, where they originated, and occasionally as slaves both there and in the old empires, distinguished from wild Orlans by their less hirsute faces and bodies. Hearth Orlons generally receive a less negative reception from other kith. While they can be found in the Deadfire, they are seldom seen in significant numbers. Okay, so it's fine. And minor threat. When Hearth Orlons attack a target that is also being threatened by a teammate, they convert some of their hits to crits. Oh, that's kind of useful. And then Wild Orlon. Wild Orlons are the original Orlons who lived in the deepest forests and jungles between the tropics. While they have only been significantly separated from the Hearth Orlons for 1,000 years, they are easily distinguished by their hairy faces and bodies. Wild Orlons are common in the deep reaches of Ir Glanfath and rarely encountered elsewhere due to widespread enslavement and prejudice against them. They are naturally sound of mind and gain resistances toward resolve afflictions. Oh, that's interesting. I actually kind of want to go through all of this stuff, guys and gals. It's just going to be kind of informative, give you guys a rough idea of what you're looking at into getting into the game, and you can kind of maybe plot out and plan out your perfect character. So this might even be a 2-part series, and I'll just hop in. Again, the first video is always going to be a bit more rambly, and it's always going to have an intro, which takes away from, you know, the amount of time spent in the video doing things. So be aware that, like, the next video will be a bit more streamlined. So I'm going to look at the races today, and then maybe tomorrow we'll look at classes, and maybe we'll even be able to build a full character, and then the following day we'll probably actually get into gameplay. Because looking at the time, that seems to be about right on the time frame. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to select the human, and we're going to see what the choices of subraces are. We're going to go with the Meadowfolk. The Meadowfolk, or the Thytran, the Thyrtan, came from an ancient civilization in the northern hemisphere and gradually migrated south into the equatorial jungles of Adir over several millennia. They are commonly found in Adir as well as Adir's former colonial territories, Red Saris, Garcaris, or something along those lines, and Adirwood. Fighting spirit. All folk have an indomitable spirit that rises to the challenge when things look grim. Whenever a folk is bloodied or near death, they gain a bonus to accuracy and damage. Interesting. Looks like they all have the same thing. All of them have fighting spirit. Okay, let's just see what the backstory is then. The ocean folk, or the Kalbandra, originated near the equator at the western edge of the old empires and have gradually spread south and east. Ocean folk are dominant culture in the old Valia and the Valian republics and can be found in most other parts of the world due to the reach of the Valian trading company. Okay, and the Savannah folk, or the Natlan, come originally from just south of the equator, north of the eastern reach. They have largely remained in the same location for over 10,000 years. The name Anatlan literally means original, while quite common in Ixtamital, and Radaris, and other countries of the eastern reach, they are rare in the old empires and the Deadfire archipelago. Like, I distinctly remember that being pronounced completely different than I came up with in my head, and I do not remember what it is now. And I'm sorry. I'm sure you guys are gonna butcher me. You're gonna lambast me. What's the word? Crucify me for mispronouncing and butchering the name. I'm sorry, guys. All right, to the Godlike we go. Let's see. What do we got? Oh yeah, check out the cool different looks. We'll just do the looks first. The Death Godlike, the Fire Godlike, the Moon Godlike. Oh, that is creepy. That's pretty disjointed. And the Nature Godlike. Okay. We'll start with Death. And yes, they look like they all have individual things, which is cool. Death Godlike are the most distrusted of their kind. Strange growths cover their eyes, or in some cases entire faces, giving them a sinister appearance. The growths that are transparent for the Godlike but opaque from the outside, hiding their features. Death Godlike are commonly killed at birth because many cultures consider them to be the harbingers of doom. Or the harbingers of doom, as I like to say. Death's Usher. Death Godlike seem to have an innate sense for the vulnerability of enemies as death approaches. Against all targets that are near death, Death Godlike gain increased damage. Simple enough. Alright, the Fire Godlikes. The body of Fire Godlikes often resemble hot metal, burnt wood, or stone with harmless flames that erupt from the cracks in their skin. Fire Godlikes are objects of both reverence and fear in the Deadfire archipelago. Many locals believe they have the power to awaken volcanoes, or that killing one will cause a volcano to awaken. And the Deerwood Fire Godlikes are often seen as a sign of blessing of Magrin, goddess of war and fire. Battleforged. When fire godlike are bloodied or near death, their bodies harden, granting additional armor rating, and their souls lash out at attackers, causing burn damage to anyone who hits them. That's pretty useful. Seems more like it'd be useful for like a frontline tanky godlike, though. These are my thoughts going forward here. Moon godlike are the most tolerated of the godlike. While their skin tone and a large moon growth on their foreheads may be strange to some, their appearances are generally considered more palatable by the other kith. Sailors have many beliefs about moon godlike and their propensity to bring luck, though there is little agreement as to what kind of luck they tend to bring. Silver Tide. The souls of all moon godlike are connected to reserves of healing energy. In combat, the first time a moon godlike is hurt, bloodied, or near death, they will automatically generate a wave of healing around themselves. Like, that couldn't show up, really? Because you had to have this little thing up. It's fine. It's fine. Sorry, guys. I'm being difficult and nitpicky. And then finally, we have the vomit or pea soup godlike. We have the nature godlike. They appear to be an infusion of human and animal features, often covered by plant, moss, or fungi. This has led to the common stigma that they are diseased, and many are killed at birth because of it. Many druidic orders have a keen interest in nature godlike because of their general curiosity as to how souls occupy animals, plants, and stones. My apologies again, folks. Wellspring of life. The souls of nature godlike respond powerfully to inspiration. While a nature godlike is under the effects of any strength, constitution, or dexterity inspiration, they benefit from an increased power level. Interesting. Alright, then we're going to go check out the elves. I might actually get through all the races before this is done. That's okay. Okay, the Pale and the Wood Elves. It is unclear how long ago Pale Elves, Glamfellan, came to the southern polar regions of the world, but they have lived there for at least 12,000 years based on the continuous contact with the Aumaua traders. I'm sure I'm butchering that as well. I'm 100% sure. They are one of the most stationary ethnic groups in the known world, migrating within the polar region but seldom venturing far north. They are rare in northern lands, and most people consider them exotic, if they have seen one at all. Elemental endurance. The Pale Elves' long history of living in inhospitable climates have given them an inherent resistance to burn and to freeze damage. Okay. The Wood Elves trace their beginnings far north of present-day Adir, and have migrated south through forests and jungles of the continent. Much of their history is connected with the Meadowfolk, and they are often found in the same lands. Some historians believe that Wood Elves migrated to Ir-Glanfath at some point in the past. Although Adiri and Glanfathan elves are wholly different culturally, they are rarely found outside of Adir and the Eastern Reach. Wily Step. Wood Elves have a natural resistance toward dexterity afflictions. Yeah, useful. Then we go to the Dwarves. Alright, what do we got? We have the Boreal and the Mountain Dwarves. Boreal Dwarves, the Inu Tannic, live in the remote southern island of, Nasatak, where they share the rocky tundra and snow-covered forests with the migratory Pale Elves and the coast-hugging ships of the Aumaua. Like their northern cousins, the Inu Tannic share an instinctive love of exploration. Boreal dwarves are most commonly encountered in the White Dead Wens or the southern reaches of the Deadfire archipelago, and are only rarely seen in other lands. Okay, and what do they have? They have the Hunter's Instinct. In boreal dwarf lands, primordial creatures, ooze, fungi, plants, and wilder, ogres, skulders, trolls, Vithrak, and Zaurips, have long preyed on hunters. Generations of conflict have given the boreal dwarves an increased chance to graze against them rather than miss. Oh, cool. Well, some damage is better than no damage, right? Let's see here. Mountain dwarves, the Aptapo. Sure. Originated on the continent of Adir in the Old Empires, but had disappeared from those lands long before humans and elves arrived there. They have spread rapidly throughout the world over the millennia due to their instinctive drive to explore and migrate. While mountain dwarves do form settlements and even small nations, they are more often found within other cultures, most commonly Old Valia, the Valian Republics, and the Deerwood. Hale and hardy. Mountain dwarves are the most well-traveled race in Eora. Their incredible journeys have exposed them to all manner of lethal hazards, giving them a resistance to constitution afflictions. Alright, on to the Ao-Mao-Hamanamanao. Okay, we got two. We have the island and the coastal. The island ones originated in the Deadfire archipelago and have largely remained there over the millennia. And while physiologically similar to their coastal cousins, the coloration of the islanders is starkly different. Warm tones contrasting the coastal's cool blues in green. While not all islanders are connected to the native Huana culture of the Deadfire, it is rare to find them in the Eastern Reach, much less the old empires. And we have Among the Waves. The island Ao-Maua are usually comfortable moving through water, deep sand, mud, and similar obstacles. Unlike other races, they are not reduced to waiting when running through such impediments. Doesn't let me scroll down anymore. Alright, then we go to the coastal Ao-Maua, viewed by many in the old empires and Eastern Reach as a warlike race. The coastal dudes are dominantly from the northern nation of Rauatai. Though they originated in the Deadfire archipelago thousands of years ago, time and distance have divorced them from their distant Huana kin. Coastal ones are less intimately connected to the sea than island ones, and are distinguished by their cool skin tones, towering physique. Coastal Ao-Maua are renowned for their natural sea legs and sturdy builds. Whether it's due to their long history of seafaring or something innate, all coastal Ao-Maua have a resistance to strength afflictions. I'm sorry, guys and gals. I'm sure I'm butchering it. It bothers me that I am, but it is what it is. Alright, anyway, we're going to continue on with Orlan. I don't know if that's going to allow us to see. We'll just check right now. We have a few minutes left before I want to break off the episode. Hopefully with all the edits and everything else, it's at least a 20-minute episode. Let's hope. Like I said, I'm slowly dying today. Speaking of editing, so I rest my case. Like I said, I'm dying. Alright, moving right along. Oh boy. Would you like to make a single class or multi-class character? Single class characters are entirely focused on their chosen class. This is interesting. They gain access to higher level powers more quickly. Whereas multi-class characters can select powers from two classes, but they gain access to their higher level powers more slowly and cannot access their class's highest level powers. Players. I don't know what that means. I'm going to go with single class, though. And there's the classes, guys and gals. So just a little teaser for you. There's the Barbarian, the Chanter, the Cypher, the Druid, the Fighter, the Monk, the Paladin, the Priest, the Ranger, the Rogue, and the Wizard. Again, I'm not sure. I feel like all of those were in the first game, but I don't recall 100%. Even though it's not been that long since I last checked it out, I still don't remember everything there was about the first game, so my apologies. Anyway, guys and gals, that's it for the teaser for today. Again, it is Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire by Obsidian Entertainment and Versus Evil. It will release onto the PC on April 3rd, 2018. This is, of course, assuming there's no delays or problems with the development and the release. That's their planned release date. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a little bit more. We'll go through each of the different classes and see what's what, and then we'll choose a character, and we'll get everything set up and done, hopefully, by the end of the next episode, and then we'll be able to actually get into some gameplay on the third episode the following day. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want more information about the game, where to get the game, information on the developer, the publisher, any of that wonderful fun stuff, it'll all be down below in the description of the video. I do plan to do a full Let's Play of this once it does release, so that's something to look forward to. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, you can tell me that I talked too much, that I rambled, that I didn't get to the point of the game, and you want to see some gameplay. You can tell me all this stuff in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video by chance, go ahead and leave a like, and, well, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with more Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Until then, my name's Bumpy McSquigums. Thank you for stopping by the Freak Show, and I will see you later.